I was really worried when I heard that the focal point of the next Cult of the Lamb update would be multiplayer, because even if it's awesome to go through the entirety of a game with a friend, how often is it actually the entirety? Tons of games restrict functionality when it comes to co-op, sometimes for good reason, but that doesn't make it any less frustrating. These restraints can range from the camera not following the second player to not earning your own gear. Maybe you can't even enter buildings unless your friend does it for you. The most egregious example is easily Mario Galaxy, which confines the second player to a mere cursor that can collect and shoot star bits. Joy. With this in mind, does Cult of the Lamb Unholy Alliance stick the landing as far as being a feature-rich, fair, and enjoyable cooperative experience, especially in regards to the second player? The answer is almost a complete yes. There are a couple of feature absences that feel unnecessary, but overall the multiplayer in Cult is a great mode that gives both players a complete experience. I'll assume you're familiar with the basic gameplay loop before this patch dropped. First, we'll go over co-op stuff and how it's integrated into the main game, then we'll move on to other additions Unholy Alliance brings, as there's more to this update than just playing with a buddy. How do you access multiplayer? It's there from the start. Pausing the game allows you to drop in a second person, even if you're in the middle of a run, so you won't have to wait till you're back at base before tag teaming with a friend. This isn't a classic case of playing as a palette-swapped version of the main character. There's an all-new cast member in the form of the GOAT. Fighting through hordes with your GOAT pal is a great time, and considering battles take place in individual rooms, there's never really going to be a moment where one of you drags the camera too far or anything like that. Player 2 can prompt the next area also, so you don't have to worry about the lamb being your chauffeur. Friendly fire isn't a thing, so go absolutely nuts and give those rival cultists what for. Moveset wise, neither character has a special collaborative attack, but there are ways to unlock this, at least on a per run basis. Besides the multiplayer, there are a handful of other additions, including new items, some co-op based, some not. For one, there's co-op based relics, which include things like being able to make the other player invulnerable or swap weapons. There's even a new tarot card that connects both players with a beam that damages enemies. I like it. Interestingly, and I thought you wouldn't be able to do this, but the Penitence mode that was added in the Don't Starve crossover update, which adds an exhaustion and hunger bar, is also playable in co-op. Though both players will share the same exhaustion and hunger bar meters, so be sure your friends are staying on top of their basic health needs. One of my favorite small but impactful additions to this update is the ability to force a certain type of weapon to spawn. I absolutely love using the sword, though I swear it's been nerfed to be slower, and was tired of constantly getting hammers all the time. What's weird is the only way to do this is to go into the accessibility settings of the game, which works fine enough I guess, especially since it doesn't disable any achievements if you like earning those, but I can't help but think there was a more interesting way to integrate this. Maybe you can build like a shrine dedicated to a certain type of weapon at your base, and it gives you the option in future runs. Just spitballing because I was kind of underwhelmed, even if it is cool to be able to pick your weapons now. What's more confusing is there's a new fleece that lets you start off with a blunderbuss, so provided you force a blunderbuss in the options menu, this doesn't really have any use. Though, if you like the look of it, you now have the option to swap its appearance with any other and keep any respective fleece's effect. Cool. All of the things I've rattled off so far are completely free, but in addition to the Unholy Alliance update, there's a paid DLC you can grab called the Pilgrim Pack, which keeps in the theme of earlier paid add-ons by being mostly aesthetic related. There's new follower forms, some outfits, etc. But the biggest boon of the Pilgrim Pack by far is the addition of an interactive comic book you can access from the main menu. This thing is beautiful and does an amazing job of showcasing Cult of the Lamb's simple but enriched art style. Every page is glossed with color and light. There's shimmering waves, golden autumn forests, and, of course, cute but comically dark creatures all around. I was straight up distracted by how good this comic looks. There is a surprising amount of detail packed into the environmental shots in particular that made me eager to soak in everything before turning each digital page. On occasion, you will have to make an arbitrary decision, like choosing which way to escape from a dangerous situation. This isn't an adventure game with millions of different endings or anything, no, but it's a nice cherry on top of an already substantial update that doesn't feel so content-rich that people only enjoying the free stuff will feel left out. Cult of the Lamb has come a long way since its original launch, and as someone who's played each update day one, it feels really cool to fire up a fresh save and see how seamless all of the new content has been integrated into the game. Someone coming into this now will get a much more complete experience, and while it's a shame that some of this wasn't included at the beginning, it's always cool to see a game you love get a good update here and there. Some problems Lamb has are too deeply baked into the experience to truly fix with a flat-out patch. Combat upgrades and variables do exist, but aren't nearly as varied and unpredictable as something like the Binding of Isaacs. The village management stuff feels more like you're juggling a dozen simple things rather than a system that's cohesively designed, and whether you decide to rule with an iron fist or be the most benevolent ruler imaginable, it ultimately has no huge impact on how your followers conduct themselves, or even how the game ends, which is a giant shame. Provided the game gets a sequel, which I have to imagine it will with how well it's sold, I think we can expect these issues to be addressed. All I ask is that the developers make the capybaras the main villain, which I don't think is an unreasonable request. I was surprised to see on Steam that Cult sat in an overwhelmingly positive score. Don't get me wrong, the game is fun, but it's never really risen above an 8 out of 10 for me. There are plenty of games I love that are 8 out of 10s, don't get me wrong, but the silver lining I think is that this sits at such a high score because of Massive Monster's ability to respond to feedback and improve so much. I don't think it makes up for how fiendishly unfunny their corporate Twitter account is, but I'll take what I can get. Roguelites might have a ton of competition these days, but despite my grievances, it's totally worth carving out some time for Cult, especially with a friend. I grew up on cute cartoony co-op games like Castle Crashers, and even if hand-drawn games are really common now, there's a smile this lamb wears which I can't bring myself to sacrifice, and neither should you.